I don't know. You probably saw this. You always know these things before I am. Did you see Kim Kardashian's post on Instagram about the full body MRI? Did you
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so that was really interesting. You know, these things are kind of a new one. She was talking about pre-nuvo. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce
I think
that.
her mom did a full body MRI
did she?
on the show that they have on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, "Oh, you have the body of a 35-year-old."
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, these things are being pushed a lot by these companies, which, you know, because, you know, it's not super, I mean, MRI machines are not cheap, but they're not crazy expensive either. And so these companies are buying them, and they do these big, like, marketing pushes where, like, oh, you know, and so Kim Kardashian, you know, she's quoted saying, this is a life-saving machine. It's like an MRI for an hour with no radiation, which is a stupid thing to say because MRIs use magnetic energy. It's not radiation like a CT scan. Like it's just, that's like saying, you know, here's a car that doesn't run on nuclear power. You're like, oh, no cars run on nuclear power. I mean, all MRIs are it's magnetic is how it detects.
Hey, at least it's a true statement.
It is a true statement. And she's saying you can be used to detect cancer and aneurysm in the earliest stages before their symptoms. And so I mean, of course, anytime Kim Kardashian posts anything, there's like always people on every side arguing for or against whatever. But she caught a little bit of backlash on this one, and from the medical community as well. And I don't know. I mean, as always, like I like to be like, you know, take a kind of a neutral approach and think, okay, is there any benefit to this or not? So, you know, I know a little bit about this because I've heard about these things. I've looked them up. I did a little bit more research. I thought we'd talk about it. So first of all, would you guys do this? Like, would you go get a full body MRI? Like,
I've gotten my head in an MRI machine because
but
I
like
had,
for a reason or no reason?
for a reason.
Okay, for a reason. Okay, but like,
Yeah,
would
but
you?
I don't know if I could stay in like all the way because I remember
They
when
are
I
pretty
went.
claustrophobic.
Yeah, I remember when I went in there for my head. They're like, okay, don't like freak out or anything because
like
you're
your
gonna
head's in,
be.
like, in a box?
You're not. Your whole body's not gonna be in there because
Right.
it's just your head. And I was
Which
like,
is like still the worst part.
I was like, okay, but like my legs could like I didn't feel like completely like constricted.
Yeah.
I was like when I was in there, I was like scared to like swallow and like
Is this machine melting my brain?
yeah, like I was like if I move, they're gonna have to do this over again or something.
That would be the worst.
And I was like, oh god, it was just annoying.
Would you do a full body one for no reason? Well, not for no reason, but to just
If
see.
I had to pay for it,
Yeah.
no.
What if it was free?
Yes.
Travis,
Yeah, I would.
would you do it?
Yeah, I would. I'm not really one of those type of guys or the
If
type
I-
of people
if-
who
yeah.
doesn't like tight spaces. I'm
Yeah,
okay
if it
with
was for free and all I had to do was post about it like Kim did,
Yeah.
probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, she probably got paid
So,
and
I
posted
don't know. You
and
know,
got
I
it
mean,
for
so
free.
I'm going to tell you guys some of the reasons why I'm against it, but like I'm not like totally against it. I mean, because MRIs are pretty sensitive, and if you had something going wrong with you that was asymptomatic, you could theoretically pick it up. Like, you know, like for me, I think like a colon cancer, right? Because colon cancers grow kind of slow. And I mean, you can have them for like quite a long time before they become symptomatic. And if you catch them early, I mean, it's the difference between life and death sometimes. So, I mean, I think that there are potentially times when one of these could save your life.
Yeah.
Statistically, no. So let's talk about it. So a full body scan costs $2,500. Takes about an hour to do. Now, one thing about these MRIs, and I order MRIs for my patients for various reasons. Most of the times when I order MRI, I order it with contrast. So that means they put an IV in and they put a dye in there, which makes your tissues light up.
I did that one time, once, for my
And
very
so
first one.
when you use contrast with either an MRI or a CT scan, you can see a lot better. Now, these companies don't use contrast because, for one, then you have to have like nurses there to start IVs, and two, some people are allergic to contrast. Other people's, if their kidneys aren't good, then that's an issue too. So from a business model, they're just like, yeah, we're just not going to do that. We're just going to do like a basic MRI. So these are not as sensitive as MRIs that you would get like in a hospital. I mean, they might have thinner slices, but that's not necessarily helpful. If it's not contrasted, they're not going to be able to see as much. So anyway, this company founded in 2018. It's an alternative to diagnostic MRI to expand life expectancy and offer peace of mind. A couple of medical groups came out and kind of slammed this, and it was the American College of Preventive Medicine and the American College of Radiology. So these are two medical groups that are basically kind of the overseers of detecting problems. One's radiology and the other's preventive medicine. And they both were kind of on the same page and said that these scans can, one, cause significant harms, waste money, and healthcare resources.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that there's no scientific evidence that detecting lesions earlier than normal will save lives.
Okay.
So, and they're right on that. When you look at the research, because the reason we know these things is because at times there's been pushes for like, why don't we just CT scan people once a year? I mean, why not? I mean, you can CT scan someone in like literally 60 seconds. You put them in the machine, zoop, zoop, out. And, you know, you get a little bit of radiation from that, but it's not enough radiation to cause really any significant issue.
Right.
So why don't we do that? Well, because it's not cost effective. Most people that are asymptomatic aren't going to have anything that's worth detecting.
Right.
And so the cost to risk outcome is bad. I probably didn't say that right, but the benefit to risk ratio is off, right? Because there are downsides to doing this. One is cost, which I'm always like, okay, well, if it's about your life, I mean, cost shouldn't be the number one factor. But the biggest reason that these things are kind of looked down upon by the medical community is something called an incidentaloma. All right. Now, I know neither one of you guys probably have ever heard this term.
No.
But incidentaloma is basically I don't want to say it's a made-up word because we use it in medicine all the time, but it's a word to signify something that's found on a test that is unexpected but also not a problem. And so, for example, like if you did a CT scan and you saw like a little cyst on the liver, that would be an incidentaloma. It's not supposed to be there, right? I mean, you're not supposed to have cysts in your liver.
Yeah.
But if you find something like that, it's going to be tagged, and people are going to say, well, this is probably nothing, but it could be something. And then what happens? Well, then you have to go and you have to get a biopsy, right? Or you should. And so the problem with these scans is that if you get them and you find something that's not really anything, but they can't say 100% it's not, then it triggers this cascade of you getting more tests, which then opens you up to more costs. Is insurance going to pay for these things? Is there risk to getting a CT-guided biopsy of your liver? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there as an example. Yeah, for sure there is. And so, there's been some studies that looked at this, and 40% of like random, so there was a study that looked at people who got scans for various reasons. 40% of these showed an incidentaloma, okay? So like 4 out of 10 scans done for not something specific found something that was unexpected. Of those 40%, only 1% ended up being something that was worth knowing about.
Like treatable.
Something that was, treatable. So that means that, 99% of people who have an incidentaloma don't really have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
And so all those 99 people are then getting all these further studies, which cost money, which increase risks. And so that's why they say that these scans really are not worth it.
Yeah, honestly, that kind of sounds similar to my situation that I was in whenever I had like a huge seizure, a grand mal seizure.
Right, because I remember
they found lesions in my brain, but they're like, we don't know if they came because of your seizure or if you've always had them. So if they show up again, you might be diagnosed with MS. Like if more lesions show up around my brain.
So did you follow up on that?
Yeah, I had to get an MRI like every 6 months for 2 years, and then after that once a year.
And there was nothing found?
For like 8 years.
Okay.
And none of my lesions never grew and all that kind of stuff.
You are in a microcosm the reason that people shouldn't get full body scans, because you got the scan, they found something that's like, okay, we're not sure what this is, it's probably nothing, we don't know, and then you had 8 years of MRIs.
But then they scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the doctor was like, I don't really know what this is, but these are the things it could be. And then it scared the poop out of me.
Yeah, and so you are the perfect example of why doing a full body scan.
I went for a reason.
No, I know that.
Because of the
I know
seizure.
that.
But
totally. Yeah. But like the incidentaloma thing is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know you went for something specific. I mean,
but sometimes I kind of wish I did go get an MRI before I had a seizure, like just for funsies, because then I'd been like, I want to see like because then we would know if I got the lesions from the seizures.
Yeah. It's funny though, because you have this almost like sense of relief if you get a scan it's negative. I was in a car wreck, I don't know, it was about 8 years ago, and I got hit really. I was literally stopped at a red light, and I think somebody was on their phone, and I got rear-ended. They were probably doing 50 miles an hour, but like you've seen my truck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's big, and it's got huge like grill guards on it. So my truck was literally fine. The car that hit me was totaled, but it hit me so hard it pushed me through the intersection, and so
that could have been horrible.
Yeah, right, exactly. It could have been really bad, but like it ended up I was okay. I didn't go. Well, first I didn't go to the hospital. The guy had to go to the hospital in the ambulance. He was messed up, and luckily my truck was fine. I didn't, since it has those big grill guards on it. Like there was no damage. I had 0 damage to my truck. It was amazing.
I have the grill guards.
Yeah,
all around mine
but
too.
what was the point of the story is like over the next 2 days, like I was fuzzy, and my wife basically forced me to go to the ER because I had a concussion is what I had. I mean, because I got hit and then the back of my head hit the seat, and it hit me hard enough that like I got a concussion. And anyway, so long story short, I had to go get these scans at the ER because I was in a car wreck and now I'm acting funny, and so they scanned me and all my scans were negative. I was like, oh great, I don't have cancer, right? So that was the point, is that I went and got the scan and I was like, oh look, everything looks good. I don't have brain cancer. It doesn't look like there's anything else in there. So I get that feeling of relief when you get a scan and it shows that everything's normal. But then again, there's people like yourself that gets a scan and it shows something, but it's not a huge problem, and you go down this rabbit hole of more tests.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Travis, what do you think?
Worrisome.
You're quiet in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm kind of starting to second guess my my original statement.
No, dude, I get it though. Like I honestly, I would love to go through a scanner, and if everything was like completely negative, I'd be like, oh good. But then it's like, what if you find like something? It's like, oh, do I really want to go down this rabbit hole?
Yeah, like, because this is another rabbit hole, but like whenever I was pregnant with Avery, science has gotten so much better that they can do tests and look in their whatever those little dillies are.
The ultrasounds?
Yeah. They can see things clearer and they can pick up anomalies better.
Right. No, totally.
And so there was something that concerned them, and I had to go to a specialist.
Yeah,
and then and the doctor was like, I just want to let you know that the reason you're here is not because there's like a huge concern. It's just like there's something we saw that's not normal, but it's probably not normal because it's just
an anomaly. But bad.
Like because we were never able to see this before,
Totally.
like a couple of years ago. But you're here, like and it freaked me out because I was just
right? You're like, oh my God, things are going bad.
So my child's not growing correctly, or something's not happening when it's supposed to. So it freaked me out. But they're like,
totally, I get it.
Nope, it's
all
fine.
Right. Well, people out there in the internet verse, tell me what you think. Would you get a full body MRI? What if it was free? Would you get it then? That's a good question. Leave us a comment. I want to know what you think.